everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Pooja Prabhakar with us. Pooja is a CEO and managing partner who develops and drives the vision and strategy at BCP Associates. After moving to India from US, where she held leadership positions at Fortune 50 companies, she took over the reins of BCP Associates, where she envisioned and successfully rolled out enterprise programs in legal audit and advisory, POSH and people strategy across several large companies in India. Pooja holds a Master's of Science degree in Management from Central Connecticut State University, and she is certified in risk management from London School of Economics. Pooja is establishing herself as the voice of risk management and GRC in industry while leading the consistent, sustained, and diversified growth of BCP Associates. And her forte has been to bring together technology, process, methodology, and structure to create innovative solutions in legal tech. Wow, amazing, amazing journey, Pooja. So, hi, how are you?
Good, Bharti. Thanks a lot. All good.
Pleasure. Pleasure is all ours, Pooja. So, quite a journey you have had so far, Pooja. So, please brief us about like the entire, like how it has been from the scratch as a legal influencer so far.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Bharti, and thanks LexTalk for this opportunity. Yes, I certainly do see myself as a legal influencer with a career spanning two very different countries and two very different fields. I was lucky to have worked with Fortune 50 companies in leadership positions in the US, which kind of gave me the exposure and experience to imbibe a deep understanding of process methodology and technology with a focus on audits and compliance, as I also had the opportunity to work on the very first Sarbanes-Oxley audit way back then. And having grown up around my father in India, who is the doyen of labor laws and industrial relations in this country, I was able to kind of bring the two together in a creative way that is relevant and useful for the labor law industry specifically in India. Able to quickly grasp the scope for kind of combining compliance and legal audits for corporates in kind of a disruptive way at that time. So these past 11 years, if you will, since my return to India have been very exciting as the legal world itself has been undergoing a digital transformation. I envisioned and successfully rolled out large enterprise labor law audit programs for several leading multinationals here in India. To further create value, we also came up with a homegrown technology platform that enabled these clients to have a real-time view of audit outcomes and compliances across their organizations, across various divisions. These programs have had wide adoption and they continue to evolve, with the latest being the inclusion of artificial intelligence. Obviously, the legal field does lend itself quite well to AI, which is exactly what I have done. So, in my opinion, these legal audit programs have visibly changed the compliance mindset and landscape in the industry. I have seen slow but sure adoption of these programs in the labor and employment law space, which was kind of absent, when I started this off. But in the past 3 to 4 years, I would say the compliance mindset has rapidly evolved. So it's very nice to see that change and that adoption within the industry. Another area which I also worked on was POSH, or prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace. In this area as well, I was able to structure and offer a solution framework for the industry, actually even before the law came into being back in 2013. This solution covers all aspects. It covers advisory, empanelment, inquiries, training, content, employee engagement programs, as well as awareness campaigns, both within companies as well as at the industry level. Initially, we also worked very closely with the ILO, the International Labour Organization, to understand and leverage their framework while we were bringing this whole thing as an offering in the industry, because there were very few people who were advocating this, and the industry was kind of slow to adopt this framework. One of the big things in this area for me, I think, is the e-module that we created very early on. In fact, probably the first law firm to do it. It has since been used by several large companies in India, and our trainings, both online as well as offline, have had a reach of, I would say, close to about 500,000 people now. In addition to this, I also, specialize in risk management. That is an area that is very close to my heart. I am very closely associated with the risk management think tank at the London School of Economics. They actually follow, what it is that I do quite closely, so that we can also contribute to the body of knowledge. Now, since we manage risk for so many organizations, our client organizations, through these various legal audit programs that we run, it is imperative for me to be in sync. And as I said, I do enjoy operating in this specialized field, and I will continue to, be in this space. So I would say by kind of weaving together all of these aspects, I was able to create tech-enabled services in the labor and employment law space, or kind of create a human tech combo, if you will, that has truly made a difference. In the legal field, as you know, that refined, intelligent, discretionary judgment of the lawyers is very essential in providing true value to clients. And I definitely, we pride ourselves in being able to deliver just that, backed by innovative technology. It has, of course, required a lot of patience, belief, and proactiveness in identifying gaps in an entirely new country for me when I moved back here, identifying gaps and the requirements in the industry. And of course, it has required agility to turn those gaps into opportunities led by technology. And today we definitely, have emerged as one of the leading employment law firms in the country, with that basis of about 6 decades, and then, bringing in something else that is relevant for the times. I guess that has been my journey thus far.
As I said, quite a journey, Pooja. So you have also, had an experience. You've had an exposure of going to US and learning a lot of things. So combining everything from your academics to your experience so far in the legal space, tell us about your most memorable experience. And if I'm sure there must be certain key takeaways as well. So let's discuss that.
Sure. My memorable experiences or defining moments, if you will. I do recall, it was the launch of the Enterprise Vendor Audit Program for a very large global finance company in India, just their headquarters. And it was my first launch. It was just the very second year of my return to India. I had been quite daring from a process, methodology, and technology standpoint. So we had over 150 people in a large training room in their office here in Bangalore, and many more had joined from Mumbai over VC. I was addressing them and introducing the program to them. Again, all the stakeholders were there. There was global management, there was Indian management, there was vendor representatives, and all the various key stakeholders, as well as the entire audience for this program was present. At the end of it, the global head of vendor management from the US, actually, who at the time handled about 2,500 plus vendors globally across multiple countries, said, he came up to me and he said that he had never seen labor law process or a labor law audit ever handled this way anywhere. He was one of those very senior and experienced leaders, so coming from him was completely unexpected for me. And it doesn't end here. A few years later, the India program was quite mature, and it was such a success that when the UK head of facilities of that same company came and met with me and said that she wanted to replicate it in the UK. So it was obviously very wonderful for me to see that my very first rollout receiving such global recognition for its vision or its sophistication, and obviously its on-ground application. So this is something I think was definitely a defining moment for me. So if you say my key takeaway was, no, I believe that if you're steadfast and thorough in subject, in process, methodology, technology, structure, and if you exude the right level of professionalism, it doesn't matter how big or small you are. This was a huge validation and certainly gave me the drive to expand and grow since then.
Thank you very much, Pooja, for throwing light on your journey and experience so far. Let's talk about your specialization, and at the same time, let's talk about certain things which have been your forte. How do you look at labor and employment laws in this particular year, 2021, and how do you think it's going to change maybe 5 years down the line?
Sure, absolutely. A very, very relevant question for the times that we are in. So 2021 is the year of labor reforms in India, and a much awaited one. This has been several years in the making and perhaps the only one of such magnitude and sweeping repercussions. The government has actually amalgamated 28 old and archaic labor legislations into four labor codes and is on the verge of implementing it. The four codes are the code on wages, the occupational safety and health code, the social security code, and the industrial relations code. The labor codes, once implemented, will bring about a lot of transparency and efficiency to the entire system around employment laws in the country. The law is definitely set to make India more business friendly and therefore create more employment. It has a huge thrust towards digitization and ease of doing business. The codes actually also seek to bring both the employers and the employees on a more equal footing. And it's pretty evident that the government is eager to protect the rights of the workers while also ensuring and providing the employers with an environment that is conducive to doing business easily. This new law is designed from a compliance standpoint, since compliance is something that is very close to what I do. So, from a compliance standpoint, the new law is designed to ensure compliance with strict punishment for those who fail to comply. There is a substantial increase in fines and penalties, and for the first time ever, the looming risk of criminal prosecution for violations related to payments of wages. So employers will have to exercise extra vigilance and must be ready to comply with the new law at all times, both in letter and in spirit. So essentially, this definitely has a huge impact on the industry, and companies will need to go through a pretty comprehensive transformation and change management exercise from an organization perspective. So, what will the next 5 years hold? If such sweeping changes and reforms are happening this year, then I believe the next 5 years we might be in a state of flux. The courts are going to start interpreting several key provisions and will start providing clarity on how they will play out on a day-to-day basis in the day-to-day workings of a company. There will need to be all-round efforts, of course, to ensure that the interests of both the employees and the employers are protected equally from all stakeholders and from all factions that are involved. Specifically from a compliance standpoint, again, over the next 5 years, we might also see a lot of enforcement of the new provisions of the labor codes. Now, there will be digital inspections and electronic notices. So the labor departments across the country will increase their vigilance on all activities of all establishments. So all in all, I think these are exciting times and times of change, and that all stakeholders need to embrace this change with enthusiasm rather than skepticism and take on this new wave of reforms that is about to hit India.
Well, that was quite an insight, Pooja. Thank you very much. And at the same time, it all sounded like a necessity of that we need to have. So let's talk about your organization. What role is the BCP Associates going to play in the labor law reforms happening in our country, and what would be your unique value proposition?
Sure, absolutely. I think we at BCP Associates are already playing a pivotal role in the industry and in the entire ecosystem, if you will, be it the government or the industry or amongst knowledge experts. So, being part of think tanks, both at the central and state government levels, we have actually been instrumental in interpreting the new labor codes and participating in some of the framing processes as well. So, having done that and having readied ourselves for the change, we are now immersed in implementing the same for several of our clients. Firms like ours are actually very strategically placed to ensure companies can make the best of the new laws while complying with all legal requirements. So our strength has actually been understanding the impact of these changes and unraveling the mystery of the codes in a methodical and well thought through fashion. Now, looking at the codes through an implementation lens, like none other, has actually already garnered us a lot of support and appreciation. We have been able to analyze and dissect the impact into specific financial, operational, and functional areas, and are now able to handhold companies through this implementation process. What we are doing is we are encouraging and supporting compliance focused companies to be preemptive and proactive, such that there is adequate preparedness on the part of the companies when the codes actually become operational and effective. By helping these companies understand the magnitude of the change and helping them align with the codes, I think we're making several companies labor code ready well ahead of time. Of course, this requires the DNA of the company also to be the same, and which obviously you do find a lot of them having that culture. I think what has been truly unique and holistic and innovative from a BCP Associates angle is our unique blend of legal and HR expertise, which is not really present in the industry from a service provider standpoint. So, being a law firm that has specialized in labor and employment laws for the past 60 years, for the past 6 decades now, we bring in a lot of deep rooted practical knowledge and expertise. So combining that legal acumen with on-ground HR experience has definitely been a winning formula, which we are seeing a lot of our clients appreciate and embrace. So with this unique value proposition, I think we are able to help the companies from a change management and transformation standpoint, specifically assisting managers in handling communication and related HR actions. With such large changes happening, communication is an integral part. There will be constant dialogue with employees and various stakeholders within organizations. And therefore, supporting clients from what that narrative needs to be, what that communication needs to be is also critical, apart from just the legal and technical angles. So with this, it has inspired confidence in clients who are now able to rest assured that, when it comes to implementation of the codes, BCP Associates is able to provide that 360-degree help, which makes it easier for them. Now, from an industry and government perspective as well, we will continue to work with industry bodies and various government agencies and departments in providing inputs and practical perspectives as India moves towards the implementation of these labor reforms. Now, I'm also associated with some of the industry bodies. I am the Vice President of Karnataka Employers Association. I'm also part of BCIC and CII. And, Karnataka Employees Association is something that we have been closely associated with for about 55 years, and in turn with the ILO as well. So with all of these various associations and perspectives, I think we are well poised to do what it takes to implement this when it comes.
Thank you very much, Pooja, yet again. Just wanted to ask you one more thing. As we were talking about the labor law reforms, how it is going to help us, in the long run, and how is it going to change maybe 5 years down the line, what it is going to change, basically. But will the labor law reforms help the Indian industry thrive and also become a global economic force? What are your comments, as you are a thought leader? So what's your view on that?
Thanks, Bharti. I think that's a great question again. I certainly think this decade will be India's decade. The labor codes have the potential to impact almost 500 million workers across the country. And a majority of that workforce is young in India. So this is an opportunity to leverage that young workforce to make India a stronger and more formidable global power. Now, what the codes have done is they've also included the unorganized sector. And by doing this and implementing a national level floor wage for minimum wages, this may actually become path-breaking for a labor-intensive economy and country like India. This inclusion of the unorganized sector will undoubtedly help raise the standard of living across India as well. These codes and these reforms have also addressed the issue of migrant workers who bore many hardship during the recent COVID lockdown. And including them in the definition of contract workers is a great move. Providing them with the benefits of portability and other social security benefits will help in ensuring the interest of migrant workers as well, which is definitely essential. Since a large part of the workforce in India is contract labor, the changes in law with regards to the definition of contract labor, core activity, etc., will also be significant. Also, there will now be a framework for the regulation of platform and gig workers as well as home-based workers. Social security benefits would now be extended to this growing category of platform and gig workers, which will certainly ensure that the labor environment is actually in sync with the growing internet economy in India. So these new laws are also expected to bring in a new wave of reforms in industrial relations, making the industrial relations scenario more harmonious for both the employees and employers, and thus help in attracting more investments for the country. Also, India Inc. is rapidly adapting and responding to the pandemic and post-pandemic situation by formalizing and structuring the work from home and work from anywhere models. And all of this, is very much in line with the reforms that are happening. So I think with all of these, all in all, India is certainly poised for growth and will surge forward as a global economic force, with the government thinking in the right direction and enabling several underlying structures. These reforms will certainly usher in a new era of growth and elevation. And I do hope we see that soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Pooja. It was lovely. It was really a lovely insight about labor laws and about, I really got to know about you, about BCP Associates, which is amazing, which is incredible. So thank you so much for sharing your experience and contributions with us. We really look forward to having a chat with you again on, on some other trending topics in the international legal industry. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Ms. Prabhakar, please like and share this video and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from industry legal leaders. This is Bharti for LexTalk signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.